Hello and welcome to the very first modern flavor of the month. I'm your host, Green Sky Dragon, and today we're going to be playing a recent Burning-Tree Emissary 8-whack list that has been repeatedly 5-0ing. So Starfall has been making a little bit of waves on the Goblins Reddit, not because they're posting their deck, but because the goblin lovers on the site are just in awe of the results Starfall's been putting up with his deck recently. The main differences between, I guess you could call it traditional 8-whack builds, and his list is the lack of goblin chieftains or lord effects, and then this strange package of Burning-Tree Emissaries and the spicy, devastating summons. And in the side, we've got some spice. The first of his lists that 5-0'd had Carry Zev's expertise, which he's since changed to Traitorous Blood. And then my personal favorite of all the spice, Jinxed Idol. Now, I did not know what this card did. I did not know this card was modern legal, because no one plays it. But Jinxed Idol is this wonderful two-costed artifact that has the ability of, at the beginning of your upkeep, Jinxed Idol deals 2 damage to you. But that sounds absolutely horrible. So we're going to gift it by sacrificing a creature. And target opponent gains control of Jinxed Idol. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this is good against. A couple Redditors pointed out that it's good against Lantern control. I can see it being good against either, like, maybe control or other grindier decks that don't play a bunch of creatures. This could be good against turns. You just gift it to them and they slowly kill themselves because they only have so many creatures to sacrifice. And I mean, yeah, it's a thing. And then for those of you who haven't played with or tested Devastating Summons in 8-whack yet, it is this wonderful sorcery that lets you sacrifice as many of your lands as you want, and then you get 2 XX red elemental creatures for each land you sack. Well, not for each land you sack, but the XX is the amount of lands you sack. This is really, really, really good for floating, say, 2, maybe 4 extra mana if you're late enough in the game, sacking all your lands, and then kicking a bushwhacker or 2. You suddenly have a couple 3/3, 5/5s, getting the bushwhacker effect and just screaming in for the win. Hopefully. The rest of the deck is pretty standard, although he is running a little more aggressive with Fanatical Firebrand. In the past, when Firebrand first came out, it was debated whether it should be run over Mog Fanatic. This build is looking to be extremely aggressive, so it's not only running the Mog Fanatic, it's running the Fanatical Firebrand as well. Burning-Tree Emissary, probably the biggest keynote of this version of the deck, is the wonderful bear that replaces itself mana-wise. Problem being, it replaces its mana with a red and a green. Now this is absolutely great if you can chain a couple Burning Trees together, or if you can kick a Reckless Bushwhacker off of it. But there are times where you've got a Goblin Bushwhacker in hand that you can't kick, and a lot of your other just mono red spells that you can't use the green for So there are downsides, but it allows for a much more explosive start, and this deck is looking to kill as quickly as possible. Now, the last addition to the traditional build that I wanted to touch on is the addition of the playset of Ramanop Runes. This does give the deck some late game reach and flood protection. I know Goblineers have talked about running this card before, but it hasn't seen a lot of play, but it's worked out for him. So we're gonna head on over to Untap and get a game started up, see how the deck works. You have Moto to thank for the start of this series because I was going to play online and give them more money, but they decided to be down for server maintenance. Get ourselves a game all warmed up. Deck a few shuffles. Say hello in GLHF to the opponent. Alright. Let's give this deck a rip. So, one lane hand. Lots of cheap goblins, but I think we need something a little better. This looks fine. It's not super great. Keep that. Leave that on top. Go ahead and pass. I think next turn we're just going to kick a Bushwhacker. And sit back on this Burning Tree. Hmm? 2, 4, 6. I'm assuming they forgot to draw last turn, which is why they drew an additional card. I don't know why those are now connected. See if they have any responses. So then we swing 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Pass the turn. And if we could draw a Reckless Bushwhacker, that would be great. I don't know why Untap's grouping cards like that. Okay, so that's a Hallowed Fountain, so 4 colors, probably 4-color Zoo, maybe Tribal Zoo? But they haven't played any... No sideboard. Okay. Whoops. I think we'll keep this. Double Goblin Guide's a great start. We can have Bolt Up. Yeah, we're just gonna bolt the bird. We probably could have Mog Fanatic the bird, but I wanted to keep that for later bushwhacking. Mm. Hmm. See what he does. That was a mistake on my part. So bolting. Yep. So that's what his deck is doing. There it is. Um. Hmm. So we'll keep those for the Viziers. I think we go down a Devastating Summons and one Fanatic. Honestly, maybe we go up a couple Dismembers for a few more Firebrands. Hmm. Yeah, we'll keep this. So ideally we want to get the Bushwhacker's max effect, but it looks like we might be getting rid of this fork bolt on this noble hierarch. So at this point, I think we go swing 2, 4, 6, 7. Fine with that trade. And then we just gotta basically kill Devoted Druid on sight. I feel like he has... Nope, he doesn't have Cryptic, but he could have a Mana Leak. Or a Queller. Yep, that's what I was waiting for. So we still need one more grenade. No blocks. Obviously, it's got flying. Okay. So he can block 1. We can hit him for 2, 3, 4, 9 most. See if he has a response for that. Alright, it's gonna be close. This is where devastating summons would be helpful. Yeah, it's a knight. Walking Ballista on 1. Flood hurts. Think that one attack where we lost our fanatic was actually a bad attack on our part. Um, hmm. Discarding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that was a little disappointing. I think that one misplay where we swung into his Reflector Mage kind of hurt. I'm not 100% on keeping some of those hands. Eight wax kind of combo-y. I still don't know. I'd say this is probably a decent keep. It's not super explosive. Slivers. Well, off to the races. So Slivers with a vial in play. Can we beat that? Yep. I think we might Burning-Tree bolt whatever sliver they put in play. It's a 2-2? Yeah. A green. Bolt. And swing 3. Yep. So the hexproof sliver is a 2-drop. Do we care about flying though? Not particularly. What is this? Ah. Okay. See if they vial anything. Nope. So second main, we will play one of them and pass the turn. Well, that just so they can't ramp. And then I think we might Devastating Summons next turn if we don't draw anything particularly helpful. Bolting the Manaweft might have been incorrect because that's 4 points of damage and they would have only been able to play 2 slivers. So we would have gotten at least 2 damage plus maybe 1 from that. Okay, so that's still 2 creatures, 2 damage, plus Bolt and the Mog Fanatic 6. So we would have been a point short. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. Okay. So, no, not that. Okay. Ugh. Swing 5. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Don't remember. The last sliver build I saw, I don't think ran Coco. Might have. Oh, woof. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 And then that goes away. No, it doesn't. Eesh. Hmm. Yep. Well, I think we lost our gas. Hmm. Well, yep. I think we have one turn to not draw a land. Mm. And that's going to be the game. So that's 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mm. So we can make 3 threes, swing for a lot. They can sack the tapped ones to gain life. And I don't really want to show them the Goblin Grenade. Or not the Goblin Grenade, the Devastating Summons. So we will bring in the Abrade for the Aether Vials. Traitorous Blood seems like a good idea. Might actually bring in the idols just to try and slow them down. No, let's not. We'll bring in a smash. Go down. Firebrand. A summons. You would just go down another, or a Fanatic and I guess another Firebrand. That is one too many lands. That's not much better. So if we leave this on top, then we're forcing ourselves to go to the late game. Which I don't think we beat Slivers doing that, so we gon' race. Yep. I think we're going to save the bolt for their face if we can afford to. That would be much better to be our turn one play, but we didn't have it, so... But at least this way we can kick next turn and have bolt up. Oh, second vial. Swing 2, 4, 7. So we can swing 4. He's going to only take 2 with the potential to vial in a couple creatures to make his bigger. I think we still go for it. See if he has any. So that got rid of 2 of his creatures. Those vials are problematic. So that's 2/2. I think we hold on to this one. Yeah, holding on to it was definitely the right play. Especially because they have, well, Mutavault wouldn't have been the most helpful, because I think they would still tap down. That's a problem. Kinda wish we had Skullcrack on the side. Swing 3. They went up to 3. What 3-drop sliver is relevant? That's helpful. So Goblin Grenade will win it for us. How big are these slivers? 4 and 5. They can activate Mutavault, which is also going to be a 5/5, and they can throw in something. And at most, we can get 2 damage through. Well, we gotta go for it. But that Dark Heart just ruining our day. So that's swing 2, 4, 6, 8. 10, 12. I'm assuming the last card is a land. We lose on the crackback. It's only 6. Yeah. Unfortunately. That was a very interesting sliver build. Yeah, we were close. So the main thing so far has been not knowing which hands are bad to keep and then just drawing kind of dead. From what I've seen of this build so far, I'm not super happy with the Fanatical Firebrands. I'm probably playing them wrong, is part of the issue. At the same time, I don't know. I think I like the more traditional build of 8-Whack. Another thing that Burning-Tree builds have talked about is running Tattermunge Maniacs so you can take advantage of the green. The problem with the Tattermunge is they have to attack every turn. Devastating Summons has been interesting. We haven't really seen its true power yet. Haven't been able to kick it off a Bushwhacker to get those tokens swinging in for the win. Double Ramen Up is rough. On the play, we have a Foundry Street, a couple Bushwhackers. I wonder if they're playing Ad Nauseam. So is this hand fast enough to kill Ad Naus before they can go off? So Foundry will swing in for 2, so we're going to hit for 3 next turn. Turn after that. We can hit for 5, 6. And then we have a bolt in hand and a grenade. We might be able to. The Angel's Grace is going to be rough, though. So ideally we draw another Denizen, play that, this turn, get it kicked next turn. That'll help a little bit. So next turn we are probably bolting and throwing the Reckless out so that way we can guarantee kicking our Goblin Bushwhacker. Two, 4, 7. I can't see them not having the Angel's Grace at this point. They probably just drop a Phyrexian. The fact that they didn't have the Phyrexian this turn means they're just going to waste a Grace. Two, 5, 7, 10. Yep. So we can kill them through the Unlife if they don't have Angel's Grace. Because, no, the runes will only... Alright. So we scoop in sideboard. What do we have for Adnaz. Pretty close to nothing. Um, I think we just bring in a handful of smash. Or do we? Yeah, we bring in a smash for a fanatical and a Mog fanatic. We run it like that. They're also playing with 61 cards in their deck. Which is a little unusual. I'm surprised they didn't have the second Unlife, or the second Angel's Grace or an Unlife. So the first win we've seen with the deck involved none of the changes that Starfall has made to their lists. And I think we keep this. Could use another Bushwhacker. Or Devastating Summons we can kick. So we swing 3, we have... How do I want to sequence this? So we have a Grenade, which is 5. I think they just scooped. Or disconnected, I'm not sure. But that's the power of Devastating Summons. Because then we kick our Bushwhacker. That Denizen is a 5/1. We're swinging 5, 7, 9, 13, 17 exactly. Yep. That was a turn 3 kill. So if they didn't have the Angel's Grace, then yeah. But we'll never know because they disappeared. Like, that's not even disconnected or left the game. So that's what devastating summons can do. Very explosive, very powerful when it works. And when it doesn't, well, that's what the first 2 games were like. I think at this point, from what I've seen of the deck, I like the concept, but it hasn't played out. One land. Burning-Tree. It's a little better. It's not the best. That'll do. So we're going to be racing burn. They passed back to me? Yeah, let's click. So what sequence of draws will help us beat burn? This Ramanop got a little bit worse. Lightning Helix is gonna be a bear this matchup. Oh? Oh, what's it? Um, uh, We're definitely gonna sack. Yeah. So then they should be at 17. So I take nothing. I think. Hmm? I'll double check that that fizzles it, but I'm probably wrong. Um, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and Burning-Tree, Fanatic. Swing one. Can we win by kicking two Bushwhackers? It'll be close. A devastating summons would be hilarious. What would not be hilarious is another Searing Blaze on our Burning-Tree. Helix would also be problematic. They're playing Path main deck? Assuming 4 to my face. Yep. So we can hit for a lot, but we are dead to a lot of things. So I think we just go for it. Land for turn. Kick. So that's 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we live, we might win. Helix would put them up to 6, and then we'd be swinging in for 7. Do they have bolt? Yep. So against burn. I think we just run it back. We don't really have much in the way of beating burn. Well, that's a lot of burn in hand, but gotta bottom that. So they should be at 18. Guide mirror. Okay. So now I think we... I think we just play the denizen and swing in with our guide and pass. Some more land. Helix would be rough. Oh my. Well, I think we need a clock end soon. Draw 1. Take 1, 2, 3, 4. Swing in for 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. maybe? Or is it 9? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's 10. Okay. So it's going to be close. Grenade does it. Them not having a way to deal with creatures does it. Them attacking probably does it, actually. Yeah. That does not do it. So we just hard cast this, win with Ramanop Ruins next turn. So we poke for 1. Pass the turn. Are we going to be a point shy? They might have Helix in hand. Why did they drop to 2? Oh, Stomping Grounds. Tough decision. I think we... Well, they have no... Sweet. Honestly, I don't think we have anything. Like, we could maybe run the Trader's Blood for kicks, but I think it's just going to be a race. I see the idol being like a funny thing to play against them. But they just sack it, bolt all our creatures before sacking to give it back, and it does not end well for us. This is a risky hand. So we have 17 other lands. I think part of the issue is I just haven't been keeping risky hands. I think we keep it. Because hopefully we'll be drawn into lands off guides. That would be helpful. That is not a land. See if they want to bolt the Denizen. I would assume no. Second bolt. Are they missing their land drop? It makes me not want to play... Uh-oh. Makes me not want to play Goblin Guide. Yeah. We are currently winning the race. Them hitting their land drop is bad for us. A Searing Blood or Searing Blaze on Denizen would be bad. Helix would be annoying. They have something to deal with the Denizen. That is not a land. So if we get one land, we can pretty handily kick and kill. I think we'll win the race if we draw a land. But it's gonna be a close one. I'm still waiting for a Helix. Haven't seen one all game. All match, even. That's a land. And that should be game. So next turn we just grenade them to death. I think we still... Yeah. Yeah. That burning tree was essential. Just seeing our whole conversation, I have the to handshake or not handshake debate running through my head right now. Like, that's kind of a painful way to die. And I don't really want to rub it in his face. At the same time, it's just like, I mean, you say GG. Don't be a jerk about things. 3. So we are 2-2 with this deck. We've seen upsides and downsides to Burning Tree and Devastating Summons. There's times where it's just dead in your hand, and there's times where you win the game because you're playing it. We'll run one last game. That'll be the last for the flavor of the month. Although, if we play decks every week, then flavor of the month might just be flavor of the week instead. I haven't really decided how frequently I want to do this series. But we're committing to at least one deck a month. With the high variance of 8 whack, I still think the more traditional Mog War Marshal Goblin Chieftain build is more consistent. I think Chieftain just gives you that late game punch that this deck doesn't seem to be lacking, but just it's a lot less variable. The traditional build is a lot more consistent. I think it doesn't die to itself as much as the Burning-Tree build does. Double Goblin Guide into a bolt and a grenade. This seems like a beautiful keep. Also, our opponent is running a 67 card deck. Interested to see. It's an elf deck. Hmm. Yep. So the question becomes, do we bother bolting the bird? I think the answer is a resounding no. Okay, so they have another Elvish Mystic on top. Mm-hmm. Um, so that way they don't get the token. That's what that's for. Hmm. So that shouldn't be there. This is when you choose your battles, folks. So they can blank 2 damage a turn. So we're gonna need another... Nah. Another grenade? Hmm. I think we just pass. When did they play that? Okay. Ah, good to know. So we know to bring in either braids or smashes. Hmm. They have 3 mana open. What do they have in blockers? They have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we can force an issue. Swing 3, 6, 8, 12, 16. Be 21. So the Bushwhacker sees 3 creatures plus the kicker, so that's a 5/1. Mm-hmm. I can totally pay for him. Yes. Yes. And then 2 triggers. Why are they looking for a card and... Do they not understand how damage works? Uh, no, I order blocks. Or I order damage, but I'm going to assume that they just didn't block with the elite. So this is an example of playing with those who do not understand the rules of the game on a website that does not have the rules hard-coded into it because this is not exclusively a Magic site. Huh? Well, our opponent did not understand the rules of the game, salted out, and left. So overall, the deck put up a 3-2 against randoms. So, Devastating Summons has put us in some winning positions. I like the card. I think it works well in this build. I'm not sure how I feel about the Fanatical Firebrand. The haste is nice, and I don't know. Having the option of treating it like a Mog Fanatic by just playing it, tapping it, and pinging something is nice. But the downside of not being able to ping whenever, I don't know. It has its pros and cons, which is why it's basically an extra 4 copies of Mog Fanatic in a build that wants to hit as hard and fast as possible, even more so than the more traditional build of 8-Whack, which looks to trade off explosive early games for the ability to make up those few last points of damage in the mid to late game, which is mid game is pretty much 8-Whack's late game, and if you go past then you're just dead. But the Goblin Chieftains and Pile Drivers, I think, give it a sort of variant smoother that this deck does not have. We never brought in the Jinxed Idols because we never ran into a matchup where they were necessary or even good. So that remains to be seen how effective that card is. The Traitorous Blood, I feel, is more a Jund, maybe Death Shadow kind of matchup. So we never saw that. Dismember is good for probably Hollow One decks at this point. Hollow One, Tassigers, Gurmag Anglers. Maybe a Death Shadow. Get a problem blocker out of the way. I'm not set on the lack of skull cracks. I think you could go down a Dismember. If you don't like the Jinxed Idols, you could go down the Jinxed Idols and a Dismember for 3 skull crack on the side. I think those would be great helps. You could honestly probably go down another. You could go down a Smash because you have the one of a Braid. So cut either a Dismember or a Smash, and then the Idols. The Traitorous Blood does a pseudo Dismember effect that doesn't cost you life, but you have to have 3 mana for it. So I could see going down to Dismember over the Smash.